Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Graham Hawley is a certified health and wellness coach and the founder of Simply Health Conscious, where he helps everyday people achieve lasting weight loss, reverse lifestyle diseases, and reclaim their energy, all without crash diets or calorie counting. Motivated by personal loss and a desire to prevent others from facing similar struggles, Graham developed his holistic five pillars of health framework: nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindful alcohol consumption. His philosophy, small steps, big results, has helped countless individuals lower their blood sugar level, reduce medications, and rediscover joy in healthy living. In celebration of National Diabetes Month, Graham joins us on Observe Day to discuss practical ways to prevent and manage diabetes naturally through sustainable habits and smarter daily choices. Welcome to the podcast, Graham.
Thank you, Wisdom. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, November is National Diabetes Month, a time to raise awareness about prevention and management. Why is this observance meaningful to you, and how do you see it helping everyday people take back control of their lives?
Well, if I could just start how I got into this.
Okay.
After observing both my brother and my father become debilitated through other conditions type 2 diabetes was causing them. Conditions like they both had a heart attack. My brother's lost 80% of his eyesight. Conditions like anemia, pancreatitis, liver conditions, kidney disease. I thought, wow, this is quite some disease. I wonder if I'm setting myself up for these type of conditions. And as I delved into it, it became very apparent to me very quickly, actually, that it really is lifestyle.
Oh,
Now, this is type 2, not type 1. Type
yeah.
1 is very different. But when it comes to type 2, and then what I also realized is that high blood sugar gain, cardiovascular heart disease, dementia, now they're called type 3 diabetes. Everything was tying in. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then when you go back to the 20s, 30s, 40s,
Yeah.
50s, and 60s, there weren't hardly any type 2 diabetes. It was a rarity. High blood pressure was a rarity. Weight gain was definitely a rarity. So once I understood how all this was happening through uh, man made food products, known as the standard American diet, basically, and then also things like, then I discovered what I call now the five pillars of health, which is nutrition,
Yeah.
and by constantly, regularly eating fast foods, processed foods, and sugary drinks, you're not getting the nutrients the human body needs to survive. You're not, yeah, you're just not getting them. And this is what the root cause of all these diseases are. So, nutrition. Then you go move into movement and exercise. As we've come into the 21st century, and this includes children, people are not moving as much. You come to America, I don't see children playing out.
Yeah.
The children are coming from school, adults are coming home from work, everyone's on the computer, they're on the phone, and so there's a lack of movement and exercise. And then you got to look at alcohol consumption and stress. Stress is big these days. So I think we're all aware you can't eliminate stress, but you can reduce stress. And by minimizing alcohol, reducing your stress, it means you're getting better quality sleep. Because if you were to put all these five pillars of health into a pie graph, there's not one of them would take a bigger slice. They're all important for optimal health. So once I discovered all this and I started to, well, first of all, I just was helping. This was a little over 5 years ago. I just started to, one, I got I worked on all those five pillars myself because I needed to. I got
Yeah.
my blood work in order. Then I started to help friends and then friends of friends. And they were getting unremarkable results of Oh, because I always, and I have from the beginning, I always just make sure my clients are in touch with the healthcare provider. Because at some point, when you start to change your lifestyle to a healthier lifestyle,
Yeah,
basically what you're doing, and I don't just mean with nutrition, you're not feeding the disease anymore. The
yeah,
disease slowly goes away. So at some point, you do have to go to your doctors to have your medication reduced. And then I'm going to say a majority of my clients, if not pretty much all of them, have had to go back at some point to have it eliminated. And if anybody is listening to this and really takes note of all this and are on medications for these type of thing, if you are going to make these lifestyles, not only should you get in touch with your healthcare provider, you need to journal. I make sure all my clients journal for the simple reason, let's say blood pressure. Need to be checking your blood pressure 3 times a day and writing it down. So within 4 weeks or 5 weeks, when you go to the healthcare provider, you can say, this is where my blood pressure was 5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. This is where it is now. Not only do you have a reference, but your doctor has a reference to say, wow, okay, you've definitely been making some good changes here. And again, in the case of my clients, the doctor says, fantastic. I'm gonna I'm gonna have to reduce your medication because just
yeah,
everything's coming back to normal. It's
yeah,
not that hard. I think the biggest problem, wisdom, is the lack of education. No one's really talking about how to be healthy in the 21st century.
yeah. Um,
I mean, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what these lifestyle diseases are like in your country. Could you educate me what, I mean, is there an epidemic of obesity and
yeah,
weight gain, lifestyle disease?
yeah. Yeah. It's just that nobody really talks about it. Like nobody, conversations about health, living, having a lifestyle that supports your health. I don't really notice that much of it happening. And you often say that diabetes and other chronic diseases are preventable. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people still have about diabetes prevention?
Well, I think, yeah, that's a good question. I think some misconceptions are is that it's all about just it's all about nutrition. I mean, we do know that excess sugar, simple carbohydrates are going to raise your blood sugar
Yeah,
and insulin level, which causes fatty liver disease, type 2 diabetes. I think even diabetics know that. But I don't really, it's same when people come to me to lose weight. They say, well, I've tried over the years, I just can't seem to do it. I lose a bit and gain a bit. And then I say, and I mentioned this earlier, it's the 5 pillars of health.
yeah.
You can't just work on nutrition and sleep quality.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
Everything ties in. I'll give you, for instance, when it comes to exercise, one, we should all be doing at least, they say 8 to 10,000 steps a day. You got to move your body. People are not moving the body as much. But when it comes to type 2 diabetes and regulating blood sugar levels, is doing strength training. I say whether you want to lose weight or whether you want to avoid diabetes, because it's quite common that people in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they may be not drinking much alcohol, eating healthy, or they're getting the 10,000 steps in. But muscle is where the glucose slash sugar is stored.
Yeah,
As we move and we get older, each year, each decade we get older, we're developing something called sarcopenia, or which is slow muscle loss.
oh,
And that's where the glucose is stored. So logically think about it. If your blood sugar's spiking and you get late on in life or even early in life and you're not. And now, when I say develop muscle, I don't mean going to the gym and coming out all ripped. Just having some storage tanks.
Yeah.
And that's why actually walking is good because you're developing your leg muscles, your glutes, your thighs, your calves. That's fantastic. But a little bit of upper body, just that's where it starts. So when people start to develop sarcopenia, then the blood sugar goes back into the bloodstream, producing more insulin, known as the fat storage hormone.
Yeah.
And then it starts to store it all in the fat in the liver, which then causes fatty liver, insulin resistant type 2 diabetes. So it's just really working on all of these five things. You can look at sleep. Sleep is the same thing. If you're not getting quality sleep, you're going to be releasing the stress hormone, cortisol, which then disrupts your blood sugar and insulin levels and regulation. So you're back to square one. You're constantly bombarding your body with uh, sh- sugar spikes and insulin. And too much insulin will cause atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries.
Yeah.
So it's all these five pillars. I don't think you really can be healthy if you ignore one of them. Now, do you have to do them all 100%? Not necessarily. I call it, or they call it, everybody calls it the 80-20. Like when it comes to nutrition, are you 80% of the time eating what we used to call real food, or 80% of the time are you eating something out of a box, tub, packet, carton, wrapper, tin, bottle? That's not real food. It's
Yeah.
manufactured. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the ingredients used in these foods, inflammatory seed oils. They're so damaging to the body. The excess of sugar. Sugar used to be a condiment, and now it's a main ingredient, and
Oh,
it's poisonous to the liver and the body. It just don't, don't work. And then you get all the known chemicals, and as we know, some of these chemicals are hazardous. So I'm not quite sure what the FDA is doing, to be honest with you, but I've got my I've got my thoughts on that, but I'll keep them to myself. I mean, I don't know what it's like again where you live, but children and teenagers are now getting diagnosed with lifestyle disease, fatty
yeah.
liver. It was
Yeah.
just wasn't known 30 years ago.
Yeah.
In fact, 30, 40, 50 years ago, if anybody had fatty liver, it was alcohol fatty liver. Now they call it non-alcohol fatty liver. So again, it's from children at 5 all the way until you leave the planet. You are susceptible to this, well, lack of a better way, slow poison.
Oh,
So, what I suggest to people is that they get a journal. It's proven. If you get a journal, you'll get better and quicker results. And then the other one, whether you're looking to lose weight or you know that you're not leading a healthy lifestyle, is find an accountability partner. Super important. Whether it be a friend, a co-worker, a family member, somebody who wants to go on the journey with you,
yeah.
or or a health coach.
Oh,
But them two things are really important. I've just wrote a book. It's not out yet. I don't have the copy in front of me.
yeah.
It's called Small Steps, Big Wins, because
Yeah.
that's really what it's all about. You can't wake up one morning and say to yourself, I've got to change my nutrition, and I drink too much, and God, I've got a stressful life, and I know I'm not really doing much exercise. You'll be overwhelmed. I mean, you just won't do it. But if you get an accountability partner, you make a promise to yourself, you commit to yourself, and you start to be consistent. And just start with nutrition. All you
Yeah.
got to do is, all you got to do is read my book, and it'll help you. um, what you
uh,
got to do is like just say, okay, my first meal of the. But again, it's about being educated. What should your first meal of the day be? So my overall thing is the title of my book is Small Steps, Big Results by the Whole Food Diet. You need
um,
to slowly start making every single meal from lean organic meats and chicken, wild caught fish and seafood, fruits and vegetables, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices. You can make so many meals from that. People don't want to cook anymore.
yeah.
You should. I mean, I was guilty of that. But do you know what now, Wisdom? I actually love being in the kitchen. Do you know why? because I tell myself why. I'm there to nourish my body. I respect my body. I don't take my health for granted. I know if I don't work on it with these 5 pillars of health, I've not that I've got them down now. I've been doing this long enough. I've developed these healthy habits.
Yeah.
I don't think, but from the minute we get up on the morning till the minute we go to bed, and you observe it tomorrow, and all your listeners observe, everything you do practically is a habit.
Yeah.
It's
You
an ingrained habit.
you mentioned the 5 pillars and you talked about them and you also talked about journaling. I'm curious, so for those 5 pillars, for someone who's overwhelmed, who's like, I want to take a step, I want to make progress, I want to start working towards having a healthy lifestyle. Which of these pillars has creates the biggest early transformation?
Well, again, mate, they all, like I said, if you put that in a pie graph, they're very much equal. I personally would, or when I get clients, we start with nutrition because you have to start to eliminate those sugars and those chemicals and too much of this and too much of that. The fundamental cause of all the lifestyle disease is fast food, processed foods, and sugary drinks. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that because everybody else on the planet who eats real food don't have diabetes and high blood pressure and they're not overweight and they're not developing dementia. That's the biggest problem is making that transition from what we have been indoctrinated into. And certainly in America, I'm going to call them quick fixes. Everybody wants to just drive by and drive through, order some food and get your food and take it home and eat it or throw a frozen pizza in. That's so. Look, I'm not saying that you can't have a bit of fast food now and again, but again, it's that 80-20. I'd either say 90-10. If 90% of the time you got to be honest with yourself. Are you eating real food? Are you making meals out of real food? Or are you making things out of boxes, tubs, and packets, thinking it's real food? So you're introducing too much sugar, too much sodium, too much chemicals, too much things what the human body doesn't agree with. So if you want to go for the fast food because you bake for lunch, do that. But have you had real food for breakfast? Have you had real food for dinner? Me personally, I don't eat fast food. I haven't been in a fast food
Yeah.
restaurant for probably 5 years at least. I'll skip a meal before doing that. Another thing for type 2 diabetes is fasting. If you want to lose weight, fasting is very beneficial. There's enough studies have been done over the decades about fasting. It's wonderful. You don't need, again, we're being indoctrinated to get up, have a sugary breakfast, what doesn't satiate you, it doesn't fill you up. 2 hours later, you're like, ooh, I want a snack. I want a snack. When you go find a snack, usually something sugary, usually something out of a packet, a box, a carton. That's what people do. Then it gets to lunchtime. Who knows what they're eating then? Are they raising the blood sugar and insulin levels? Not satiating themselves with the three macronutrients, protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Where you fast food doesn't have fiber. They eliminate the fiber.
Mm.
Fiber doesn't. There's no shelf life on it. It's gone. They don't use healthy oils. They use inflammatory seed oils. You see what I'm saying? You're just putting all this stuff in your body and it doesn't work. It's been proven.
Oh,
But I get a lot of my information from wisdom is I follow doctors who have left the conventional medical system and can talk about things doctors within the system can't because of how they're controlled. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole,
yeah.
but in a nutshell, that's really how it is. So I follow doctors who are disgusted in all this, disgusted in that food companies are making food that is destroying children's health.
Yeah.
Now, at least put a warning label on it, right? At least make everybody aware. If you eat this as
Yeah.
much as you're eating, you're gonna.
I mean, the thing for me is
I,
that most people know these things. They know that fast food is not good for them. Like most people know these things. Like it's not like new to
I
them.
think I'm not going. Yeah, well, that's right, and I'll tell you why. Because of the misinformation, the disinformation, and deceptive packaging by food companies. People think they're eating healthy, protein packed, fat free, sugar free. It's not real food. whatever way you want to look at it. And I will lean more to no one's really talking about. How to be healthy is not taught in school. How to be healthy is not taught in universities.
Yeah.
You go to your doctor, he doesn't teach you how to be healthy. He's there, his job, and it's unfortunate this is how the system is. They're there to manage your disease when you get one. Again, there's no argument there. No one can argue with me.
Yeah. Oh,
It's it's pretty sad that we're at this level where there's just from the minute you're born, you're susceptible
yeah.
to just
Goodness.
ruining your body, ruining your life.
Yeah.
Question I pose to a lot of people: what do you want your health to be like in 10, 20, 30 years from now? That is what you've got to think. But you've also got to understand, and like you said, most people, because they feel well, even when they go on medication, they feel
Yeah.
well because the medication has taken the symptoms away, hasn't
Mm,
taken the disease away. And like my brother and my father, they kept feeding the disease because they felt fine. I feel fine. But slowly over the decades, they're feeding the disease and they're slowly damaging other vital organs. What led
yeah.
to my dad having 7 chronic illnesses and dying riddled with gangrene.
Yeah. Oh, as we close, what's one mindset shift you wish everyone would adopt, this National Diabetes Month to prevent or reverse lifestyle disease?
Educate yourself.
Oh,
There's some misinformation out there. Go find and they're sprouting up. They're definitely sprouting up in Denver here. Go find what's called, well, I call them, and I think they call them a functional medical doctor. Somebody who has left the system and will help you get to the root cause of your problem. Pretty easy. I'm
that's
telling
nice.
you.
Over the course of this episode, you've talked about the 5 pillars of health approach. Where can listeners start learning about those pillars? And also, you mentioned your book coming out soon. Um,
hmm
where can they get a copy of the book and also connect with you?
Yeah, that was so okay, great then. So they can connect with me through my email, which is very easy to remember. Simply health conscious at gmail.com. Simplyhealthconscious at gmail.com. You can find me under my name, Graham Hawley. My name, Graham Hawley. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and you can find I've got videos. I post videos on a daily basis just about all this stuff. LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn, I'm with Simply Health Conscious. But, if people want to email me, I can send them I've got lots of free copies of all sorts. I've got a book I can send, how to build, it's only a small book, but it's quite impactful, I think, how to create lifelong exercise habits.
Oh,
So yeah, if people want to reach out and get in touch with me, that's how they can reach out and get in touch with me. My book will be available in, I reckon, the end of this month. It'll be on Amazon. It'll also be on paperback on Amazon and also on a digital on Kindle.
yeah. Oh,
So it's be very easy to get. Small steps, big results by Graham Hawley.
yeah. I'll put the links mentioned in the description so listeners can just click and go directly to the site. Once again, thank you so much, Graham, for having a chat about diabetes prevention.
hmm Well, thank you. I do appreciate wisdom. I don't know, I'm just trying to get my message out to as many millions as I can because people don't need to be living with these conditions. Now,
Yeah.
if they want to live with it, that's their choice. But at least let's give people a choice.
Yeah.
Most
Thank you.
people won't. Thanks, sir.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.